Well, Neil, thank you so much for joining me today. I'm really excited to have you here.
No, thank you, Cheryl. Happy to be here and talking four-year, 2 year higher education with you.
Excellent. Well, you are a client, a former client, and I saw you speak at a conference about a project that I know a lot of colleges across the nation are looking to do themselves. But before we dive into your project, I want to learn a little bit about you and your college.
Well, I am the marketing director here at Mission College. I've been here about 6 or 7 years. We're going through a presidential search, so I'll have a new boss in the coming months. So I've been on my best behavior in the interim. But at the same time, Mission College is out in Santa Clara. We're a 2 year college in Silicon Valley. Our big programs being hospitality management and nursing, and we're really excited about starting our new Firefighter One Academy. Like a lot of community colleges, we have those career education, hands-on training, but also we want students to transfer as well, to San Jose State or Cal State East Bay or, Berkeley along those lines. So as I say, we have probably something for everyone. And like what I also like to say is we serve everyone from 16-year-olds to 72. We had a great story a couple years back of a gentleman who immigrated from Vietnam right after the Vietnam War. He was 72 years old. He had never gotten a degree, but he always wanted to get a business degree. So he went through the program. He got, with one of our categorical programs that got him, a little money. And he was able to graduate with a business degree at 72 years old. So I hope at 72 years old, I am, have that, cognitive ability to actually, want to get, another degree. So
That's
there we go.
great. And those are the type of stories that just warm your heart. It's amazing what education can do.
No, it is, and it's amazing. The stories of our students at Mission College are really phenomenal. I mean, you just throw a rock and you have a new story. I mean, one that really resonates with me is there was a young woman who was incarcerated as a teenager. She got pregnant before being incarcerated, and she knew she was going to have a son, and that really kind of turned her life around. And she's found, once she got out, she went to high school, finished high school, um, found Mission College, became an honors student at Mission College, and then went on to transfer to Santa Clara University and get a scholarship there. But really, we did a video on her a few years ago, and things she said, she's like, "Hey, I'm doing this for my son. You know what? I want him to be in that same situation that I was. You know what? I had a lot of trouble in my life, but you know what? I changed my life for him and for the better." And I mean, you hear those stories every day for community college students, and it just makes it when you come to the office every day and you have students that are so affected by having higher education, it's really kind of a special place.
Yeah, it really is. And it's so great to hear those amazing stories, especially because of your location right in the heart of Silicon Valley. We think of Google and Apple and Facebook and all these high tech companies, but there's such a need for students to be served by the college, on their own pathways, whatever that may be.
Well, yeah, there's always that wealth gap, and you definitely see it nowadays in Silicon Valley, of the people that are working 2, 3 jobs, have to take care of their family, and obviously, with how much it costs to live in the Bay Area, a 2 bedroom apartment is $2,000, $3,000. So you just add those barriers on top of one another, and it's really tough to go to college. I mean, you look at Mission College, and we're very similar to other community colleges in the area. 75% of our students are part-time students. So that means they're taking between 1, 2, 3 classes, and just trying to get by while 2 jobs, while taking care of their family, while being a single parent. So, what we try to do at Mission College is, we're lucky that we have some emergency assistance funding, which is on top of financial aid. We also have a free laptop loan and Wi-Fi hotspot program, so that if they need to get online they have the ability to do that. And then also, if they need a computer, we have the ability to loan that out to them. And a great story we had a couple months ago was we had a homeless veteran who was living out of a van, and he was struggling. He came back from being deployed overseas in Afghanistan, and he started at Mission College, but he didn't have a reliable Wi-Fi hotspot. So we said we connect him with the Valor Center. We connect him with a Wi-Fi hotspot. He was able to get online, get in his classes, and then the guy closes on a home with the Valor Veterans not the Valor Veterans Program, but the National Veterans Program, and he's an honor student in business. So like, we're trying to put those pieces together to make that student whole, so that finances is not a barrier to students. I come from a long line of family members who valued education. My grandmother started the first library in Albany, California. My mother was finished her degree in her 50s after flunking out of Cal and moving to Hawaii. So I get that, and seeing students able to change their trajectory with one small piece, we complete the puzzle. Mission College, I think, really does complete that puzzle. I think higher education in general does that. And we haven't even talked about the type of student that's in a job. Maybe they got a degree and they've said, hey, you know what, I really don't like this. I really don't like the career I'm getting at. So where do I want to go? So community colleges is a great aspect to actually change trajectories and say, hey, you know what, I've always kind of wanted to be a cook. So you know what, the fire department calls every week when I try to make chicken, but you know what, I really want to work in a kitchen. So you know what, we have a hospitality management program that our chefs say, hey, look, you don't need to know how to cook, we're going to teach you how to cook. And then you know what, follow your passion and see where it leads.
That's great. I love that everything that you're sharing really comes from a place of wanting to support students and help them on their journeys as they complete their education. And that's one of the reasons why I wanted to invite you on the podcast, is because you embarked on a really ambitious project, a technological project in the heart of Silicon Valley, and accomplished it and have had some really good results. So tell us a little bit about the app project, where it started, why it started, and where you are now.
You mean our Go Mission mobile app, correct?
Yes.
Yes. So West Valley, our sister college, had already had a mobile app set up. So we had kind of the back end pieces. But then, the mobile app, they said, hey, Mission, you get to do a mobile app too. So, the first thing I did was, the company Moto Labs said, okay, we have this kickoff call. And I said, okay, what other colleges around the nation do you work with? And really around the world. And I started calling those tech geeks, what I like to say, the back end folks, and say, okay, how does this app work? What do you like? What do you not like? For example, at a 4-year college that has dorms, the mobile app's able to tell you, hey, by the way, there's 3 dryers available right now. That would have been great when you and me were in college. Then we didn't have to sit and wait for the next thing to go. But there were different little parts that I grabbed from different areas. One, in New Zealand, they have a university and they have the little sticky at the bottom of the mobile app. And I never really thought about it, before we did mobile apps, but I was like, hey, you know what? I want to do that sticky. And hey, you know what? The University of Auckland has the sticky. How do you do that? So I reached out to them. I said, hey, I used to live in Australia. I don't know if that helps or hurts. But when I said, hey, look, how do you do this? And they're like, here's the code, go. And you know
And
what?
what is it? What is a sticky? What is
So,
that?
so at the bottom of screens on mobile apps, you'll see, as you move around the app, you'll see certain links or icons that are actually always on the bottom. So that's what they call the sticky. And the University of Auckland's like, yeah, here you go, use it, whatever you want to do. And now Mobile Labs has made that part of their next version. So I don't know if that was part of our, us, kind of, using it from University of Auckland, but we kind of went that way. But really first it's researching, what you like, what you don't like, and getting expert advice, and then I'm lucky I have a really great graphic design and UX team. So, our graphic designer, made all our icons. Our webmaster did the back end and worked with our ETS team to build out the usefulness of the app. And the one thing when we launched the app, it could have just been the, hey, here's all the different things that are Mission College, click here, click here, click here. I said, look, students are going to need to use this for something. So we said, hey, you know what? They need to use this for actually registering and adding and dropping classes. Okay, let's go figure out the technology for that. And you know what? Now that's a useful, tool so that whenever they want to search for classes, add classes, drop classes, it's right there at their fingertips. The next iteration is, okay, hey, by the way, you owe for this semester, or hey, by the way, prior to registration is ready to go. So there's a lot with the mobile app that we can continue to do, but that first step was just really getting it out there. And I mean, we've gotten 4,500 5,000 downloads during a pandemic. So that's really encouraging on its own. And the fact that, people are using it and continue to use it, that's just, a feather in our cap. Hey, you know what? Students need this technology to, be a college student.
And I guess I'm wondering, why even have an app to begin with? You have your website and you have social media. What does having an app do for students that those other things don't?
Well, in the marketing office, we get a lot of times the students can't find this, and students can't find this, or I can't find this. So basically, I call our, the mobile app is your big bookmark, your big bookmark of stuff. And try to put that in an easy way for students to find that stuff. So however you think is best to lay it out. And that's why, you talk to different universities and you see, hey, here's what a 4-year does, here's what a 2-year does. And you go, okay, this could be useful for students. Moving forward, we're going to have a 6-show outdoor concert series this summer in our new plaza. And part of it is, let's get the community involved with getting to know, hey, here's the next concert. Hey, by the reminder, hey, next Wednesday, hey, here's a concert. So it's also part of the notification, what I like to say, the notification marketing game, where, yeah, we send stuff out on email, we send stuff out on text, but hey, you know what? I think 90% of the people in the country have their phone and they see that notification from Firehouse Subs that, hey, it's a 2-for-1 deal. So hey, you know what? Maybe I'll go to Firehouse Subs, get double points. So we can talk about my sandwich. We'll work fetish on a different podcast, but you
It is
know,
getting close to lunchtime. I was
I
like,
know
oh, my mind
exactly.
started to
So
wander and like, what do I have for lunch in the fridge today?
exactly, or you use the 15 different sandwich apps that I have on my phone. But again, that's part of marketing is just that slight nudge, Say, hey, by the way, we're here. Hey, did you realize? Hey, we have this happening this week. Because honestly, marketing directors can do everything well, and for a college, students are not going to magically appear in classes. There's a lot of barriers from the time that they're interested in going to college to when they actually enroll. It's different than when you're actually marketing a event or a concert where 3 in the morning you decide to click and now you are going to that concert. So having that mobile app and having that pieces in place where they go, hey, you know what, I need to go get that next book. You know what, let me just go on the mobile app, click on the the icon for the bookstore. Okay, there. And then for new students, hey, you know what, I need a map of campus. Or hey, you know what, I've never taken a class in the Gilmore Center behind me. Where is that? Actually, that's the Student Engagement Center. So, but where is the Student Engagement Center? They can go on our mobile app, go on the map, and go click. Here you go. So, it's kind of what we say is it's Mission College at your fingertips.
It really sounds like you've made the app really relevant for students. So this not really geared towards people who haven't already enrolled or applied with the college. It's not a recruitment tool, it's really a tool for current students.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the primary driver, just because we have 7,000 students on our campus, and they're going to need to use the app hopefully throughout the year for different things. Granted, our staff are also on it to get notifications. There is an actual what they call a persona that we've created for staff that are able to have that, again, that bookmark type feel. And hey, you know what, I need to go log into ABC. Here's the quick way to do it. Hey, you're a night administrator. Oh, you know what, where do I find the phone number for X? Okay, there. And I mean, another part of it is also we created on that sticky at the bottom was a help desk icon. So hey, I need to talk to someone right away, whether it's mental health or whether it's a welcome center for a registration problem. What we're starting to see now is that students are starting to realize that that's a very quick way to contact our welcome center and ask questions there. I mean, our welcome center is probably the gold standard of community college. I mean, they answer 16,000 chats a year. I mean, that's pretty impressive for a college that's only 6,000. So they do a great job of answering questions. And literally, I have the numbers. It says in 19 seconds, here's the welcome center is going to answer your call. So it's the app is another way for students kind of connect with the campus and also find things on their own.
That's great. I was just in a focus group, gosh, Wednesday night. I'm like, what day is it? It was Wednesday night with financial aid students at a college that's a client. And one of the students said something really interesting. It's her first time coming to college. And she said that, she needed help with financial aid, but she was too scared to call. So she wanted to chat with someone. And I thought, how interesting to be scared to call. But I think a lot of people are. They don't want to pick up the phone, they want to chat.
No, no, that's absolutely, and just when back you and me were doing AOL Instant Messenger, that was what it was, and you got to talk to someone around the world. It's just easier to do that over the internet, and maybe there's language problems that they don't feel comfortable doing. Nowadays there's the translation, so they can write it in their own native language, and then it automatically translates back to English for our welcome center. And really, this goes off on a small tangent, but we had a booth at an Afghan refugee fair a couple months back, and we had our banner that said Mission College, let us help you. And there was someone there who actually took a picture of our banner, and it automatically translated it into their native language. And I was like, wow, like technology is kind of cool.
It really is.
So I was like, okay, so and then I bring that back to my campus, and they go, hey, we need to make these pages in ABCD translations. And nowadays with the technology, you almost don't need to do that a lot of times, though you do want to reach out to those different populations that speak different languages. But for a website that is all text based, it's just really translating from the Google Translates of the world, and other technology like that. And that really helps students that may have issues with English, that don't understand the college environment, are able to look stuff out on their own, and then also reach out to folks. Because honestly, we had a student who once said, you know what, Mission College taught me how to college. As a first generation, their family has never been to college before. In different countries, college means a different thing. So this is about not only educating them, but also letting them do it on their own, because really these students are just trying to figure out how to get by it. I mean, we started off this conversation in that regard, was that students have a lot going on right now, and they we want to take as many barriers away from them that just lets them focus on education and going to college, because that's the number one goal, is that let Mission College help you figure out where you want to go. and we're going to help you with that. There is no problem whatsoever of asking questions, and there is no dumb question, trust me. Education has a lot of answers and a lot of self-help videos and everything else, but you know what, there's some very basic questions like what the heck's FAFSA. Why the heck did they call it FAFSA? There's stuff like that that we're willing to help, because you know what, another student actually had that question before. And that's the thing is, and you see that joy on a student's face. I remember we did a graduation a couple years back in our old main building in nursing, and there was a student that actually had nothing to do with the nursing program, but was a mother, and that was just kind of looking around, had found us some way, and she's like, I just, I kind of want to go to college, but I don't know what to do. And I said, hey, we have this CalWorks program, that helps, single parents. We have, EOPS, we really want, the parent to figure out what they want to do. And I mean, it was maybe a 3-5 minute conversation. And she literally just like hugged me. She's like, thank you so much. Tears running down her eyes. She's like, someone finally, understands, where we're coming from. And I would make, it's like, those little wins every day are really something that makes you feel good, but two, you know what, kind of brings up that person as well, because who knows where that person goes someday. They could be the CEO of a company, or they can do their own passion and run their own restaurant. I mean, it's so many different things they can do. They are seeing that is really kind of special.
That's such a great perspective to keep in mind, even when you're working on projects like a mobile app, that this is making the student's journey easier and supporting them. So for even those college staff who are, sitting behind a computer programming something, you are affecting people in such a positive way. And you might not see it or you might not hear it like you were able to, but it's happening. And that's, why we do the work that we do. So that's a really good reminder. I wanted to go back to something that you said before about the website. And I'm wondering if after we get off this podcast, I have a call with a college whose website is like a monstrosity. I'm sure everybody can relate to this that's listening. And we've been slowly tackling different departments. I'm helping them reorganize the content of the site to make it like actually usable. And I'm wondering if having the app has helped you make your college website more like enrollment driven. I'm assuming that because you don't have to have like everything on the front page for everybody, that maybe that's given you a chance to refocus in some ways.
The mobile app came after our website redesign, so we actually had that problem when I first started. Was that people were like, I can't find something, and you know, the last marketing director is like, fine, let's put it on the front page. Fine, let's put it on the front page. Let's put it on the front. So then we had a list this long of everything on the front page, and that's where someone needs to kind of take charge and say, hey, you know what, I need to be the gatekeeper of the website, and here are analytics behind it of here's where students are looking. Here's a lot of different data points that this is what students want. And yeah, you know what, you have a great program here or a great department, but you know what, we need to drive where students are looking. And granted, the other part of it is that Google, for everything some folks say about it, people Google, hey, you know what, financial aid, Mission College, or how to go to college. And if you can get up on that list, that's going to help drive traffic to your website more than anything else. But the part of the website is everything on the front page within 2 clicks. I love it when I have a VP or a dean say, hey, it needs to be 2 clicks because some law out here says it needs to be 2 clicks, and I'm like, yeah, but it's one of those things where you need to kind of have that overall wide focus vision of the entire ecosystem to be able to build a good website. And I mean, I'll pitch our company Vision Point that redesigned our website out of North Carolina. they came in after doing some conversations with our students and staff, and they brought us a SWOT analysis. And I'm like, wow, you talked to us for about a week and you understand our college right there, right then. And that was able to build the website, moving forward. But also it's project management too, because education a lot of times gets into that. Hey, I got an idea. I got an idea. I got an idea. I got an idea.
Yeah.
And the idea is, you know what, you actually need to do that idea, and get it off your plate. So project management is almost instrumental to actually rebuilding a website, because you could still talk to this day about, hey, I want to do this and that. Someone just needs to do it, at the end of the day. So you know I don't really think, I think the mobile app came after our website, so it's hard to say that the mobile app kind of helped with the way our website's built. But our new UX, designer and webmaster, she really understands that process of not only what it looks like on the web, but also what it looks like, in a mobile app. And realize too, let's be completely honest, when you're looking at a website on your phone, you're kind of looking at a website in a mobile app. So
Yeah, it seems to me that a mobile app would just really help you streamline those requests where, somebody's not going to download the Mission College app if they're not pretty sure they're going to go to Mission College, because we all have a million things on our phones and don't necessarily want an app for somewhere we're not going to go. But they're going to go to the website. So you make the website really enrollment driven, exciting, geared toward new students. And then the faculty and staff who want the quick link to the help desk, well, that's in the mobile app. And so you can really start to say, this platform is for engagement, enrollment, for persuading new people to come, and this is for current students to find classes, to get books, to see if the dryer has vacancy, which I know you don't have dryers, but I love that idea, like how useful that is. That would help in my house, by the way. It's like I have to walk downstairs to see who's put what in the dryer. And so I think that delineation is a really great reason for building something like this. You're serving a different community through the app than you are through the website, and that helps really keep things clean and separate and focused.
no, you're absolutely right. And the fact of the matter is, people find things in different ways. If your entire family had the Cheryl Broom app, you could also put notifications, go, hey, by the way, here's dinner. Here, by the way, get in, do your homework, that sort of thing.
Look at, I
Uh,
think you've just come up with an idea and you're in Silicon Valley, an app for parents. Push notifications to your kid. Clean your room. It's dinner time.
Absolutely. You know what? There probably is already
I know.
one of
I'm
those
like, that's
on
a good
the
idea.
Apple Store, Android Play Store. So yeah, you just sort of find, but that's the thing. It's like everyone, has a different way of finding things. So when going back to the website, well, how do most people find ABCD? That's what you try to do for your website. And there's always the question of, well, if it's not on the front page of the website, people don't know about it. Well, there's other ways to let people know about what you're doing, whether it's social media, whether it's the mobile app, whether it's in HD screens, flyers, et cetera. So it's a combination of the tool belt that is in every marketing director's pocket and on their belt, and seeing what happens, to let people know about what's going on. Because what you really want at the end of the day is for someone who's thinking about college, and to go, if they're thinking about college, the first thing that pops in their head is, hey, you know what, let's go to Mission College. Because that's when you sell Mission College to them. And it might be a drip campaign where they heard something 6 months ago, 2 years ago, hey, they had a friend that went there, hey, they were at Kaiser, and they talked to one of the nurses, and hey, I went to Mission College. That sort of thing. Those small little drip points is really how a student is converted, from maybe a potential client to a actual student who graduates and gets a great career.
Now, for other colleges who are in the beginning stages of developing their app, do you have advice to them? Anything you struggled with, had to overcome? What are some pointers that you'd like to give?
Well, in regards to basically building out a mobile app, I think first off, research, see what other folks are doing, other colleges, even other entertainment sites. See what you like. I mean, honestly, that sticky at the bottom is from Aussie rules football, and I'm like, ooh, I like that. How did I get that? By the way, go St. Kilda. They're going to break my heart in the end of the season. But research, figure out what you like, what you don't like. Have a team of folks that look at it and know the college and can bounce off ideas, including students, including staff, faculty, etc. But also have someone who can make the ultimate decision and go, okay, here we go, let's go. Because otherwise that's going to be delayed from a 2-month rollout to a 8-month rollout, because you're still deciding on what color to choose. So really, research, have someone to have a decision point, be the decision maker, and then also make it useful. Like what is going to make this useful for your college? Because if it's not useful and it's just a really nice app. I mean, we had that, at a school I used to work at, a very large one with a very large enrollment. They made a really large athletic app, and it looked really pretty, but it was completely useless. So, at the same time, it needs to function. It needs to do something. Because you want students to come back to it, so you can send them notifications and and, and actually continue to use it while they're at your college.
That is so true. And it's true with so much when it comes to design. And I'm telling clients this all the time. 'Cause I've talked to students, my entire career, and they care more about functionality than design. So, colleges tend to get wrapped up in, just like you said, colors, photos, how pretty it is, but you gotta start with functionality. Like it has to be useful, or it can be beautiful, no one will use it.
No, I absolutely agree. Everything needs to be useful for. I mean, why are you doing it then? I mean, it comes back to the original point. What are we trying to fix, or what are we trying to do?
Start with the basics. Now, once you built it out, how long did that take, by the way? How long was the process?
So the whole process from start to finish was less than a year. And honestly, this came from a point that the back end part was already at West Valley. So there was already, work done, a year and a half before that. But, Moto Labs, that was our mobile app. They were, they said, hey, you know what, we're going to launch this in less than a year. And you know what, that was also part of the equation too with Moto Labs. Was we had weekly meetings with them, and they were like, hey, by the way, did you do this? Hey, by the way, did you do this? Because that's the other part we didn't really talk about, is that, oh, we have all these projects, and then all of a sudden the mobile app idea just, oh wait, it's June. We were talking about it in January. Oh wait, I forgot to do that. So having someone not only on top of the ones who's making decisions at the college, but someone with the company building it, going, hey, did you do that? Did it work? It helps tremendously. And those guys over at Moto Labs were really good at saying, hey, this is due. We need to keep moving, because otherwise we would have been in that boat of, oh yeah, we need to launch that at some point. So,
Great.
but we,
And
but
now,
we
when you
actually,
did launch,
yeah.
how did you do that? How did you get the word out?
So we have a list of about 50,000 in our email list, so that helped to begin with. We did it during the height of COVID, so no one's on campus. People were tired of hearing from us on email and text message, but we sent it out on email, we sent it out on text, sent it out on social media. And here's the other part of it, which we didn't really mention, that really kind of helped the app survive those first years. We actually put a part of the app is you had to do your health checker on the mobile app. So they had to download the app to actually use services on our campus. So that kind of helped too. But again, I said, look, the pandemic is going to end eventually. So where sometime we need to make this actually functional for the college rather than have the, it be the green check mark app for Mission College. So we're kind of moving away from that. I mean, and you look at data, our data analytics, it's like, okay, folks are using this to search for classes and add classes and looking at the, the message notifications we're sending out. So, and that's part of it is it's a living, breathing thing, and you got to figure out how to make it work and be functional, not only when you launch it, but down the road. And also another thing we did, when we launched the app is I bought 3,000 keychains with the mobile app logo on it. And also it was a bottle opener because again, functionality, people are like, oh, that's that's a keychain. I'm like, well, no, it's also a bottle opener. So that's going to be useful for you. And you're gonna be like, oh yeah, the Go Mission app. Oh yeah, you know what? I went to Mission like 3 years ago. Oh yeah. So again, functionality. And then also the other part of it is we created a logo for it. We have a robust graphic design program, and we have a graphic design intern that works with us every semester. And she was able to create that logo for the mobile app that we use and as branding. So it's also part of branding. Free stuff, branding, and thanks to COVID, those were the three reasons that the mobile app at Mission College was able to work.
Oh, those are such great tips. Um, one last question. So now that you have the app, you've had such great success, you clearly have like a kind of a marketing strategy to get it out. Who does the push notifications and how do you know how do you balance too much and not enough? Like whose decision is that? How do you know what to do? He's raising his hand.
Yeah.
Okay, interesting.
So I mean, honestly, we're kind of a small team too. The idea moving forward and the very successful mobile apps have multiple people that are in charge of certain sections. Again, it's like your website. They have multiple sections that they're in charge of, and there's kind of a overseer that makes sure that hey, you don't email too much or you don't put too many notifications out. I've always had that in the back of my head. Hey, we can't, text them 12 times this week. Otherwise, they're going to delete the app and not care anymore. So, what I've been doing is, we have a e-blast that goes out on Monday mornings of our different programs. That's part of, that Monday morning thing. And then there's opt-in channels. There's a lot of different opt-in channels. So, and this is kind of that next step for the mobile app is getting different categoricals on that. So let's just say our ESL department is actually really interested in using that for ESL students is that, okay, you're in charge of the ESL notifications, but you can't actually hit send. I have to hit send for you after I look at the message to make sure that, hey, we have 3, campus-wide announcements going out this week. Hey, we're going to have to hold off on this announcement type thing. There really needs to be a gatekeeper, and someone who oversees it. But you talk to enough of the schools that have these apps, they have multiple departments that are kind of in charge of their own sections and their own notifications. And once you kind of build out that team, if you're big enough, then the marketing director doesn't have to raise their hand and go, hey, by the way, I'm doing this, that, and that. So and so it's really about a trust and b putting out a message that's useful to people and not to annoy them so much.
Right. Yeah, I always get asked that question by colleges is when is too much? What's the magic number? So
I will tell you the magic number. The magic number is when you look at the data and people aren't opening it, people are unsubscribing. You get the occasional email back, hey, go F off. And you're like, yeah, I think we're probably emailing, texting a little bit too much. But there's sometimes where you kind of need to send out a lot of messages in a week. I mean, this week alone, we sent out one, our normal one, then we had a presidential search, and then we had a timely warning from our district police. Well, that's 3 right there. So it sometimes happens that way. You just try not to make it 3 every week because then people just ignore your messaging.
Right. If somebody wants to take a look at your app, how do they do that?
Well, they get on the Magic Apple Store or Android Play Store, and you search Go Mission, and you can download the app and play around with it. If honestly, if you see anything that doesn't work, or you're like, hey, you know what, how did that work? Or hey, you know what, I got an idea. Feel free to shoot me an email at Mission College, Neil Adler, or Adler at missioncollege.edu. Or if you remember the short URL, it's go.missioncollege.edu. I'm a big proponent of short URLs rather than the missioncollege.edu/dpt/mission college app go mission.html. So I like short URLs. It's and I tell my staff it's really for me because I can't remember where anything is, but I remember the short URL that I created myself, and maybe like three people remember it besides me, but I just like putting that out there to basically keep my head in order.
Well, thank you for the closing tip to the listeners. Keep those URLs short. I agree 100%. Well, thank you so much. It's been so great to learn more about the app. You did a great job in your presentation at CC Pro too. And congrats on a successful project.
No, thank you, Cheryl, and have a great day. And graduate communications, I mean, we've used in the past, and we'll continue to work with you in the future. You're doing a great job over there.
Well, thank you.